Hey guys, welcome back to the Baramasi Family YouTube channel. So today what I wanted to go over with you guys was my discharge from the hospital, what that looked like, what they went over, some tips I'll give you guys while I was at the hospital that I wish that I knew that I could have either asked or taken away from my experience. So I'll go over some of that with you guys. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing after you give labor or birth is you are going to be in your kind of recovery room, and during that time they're just going to be monitoring you and the baby. In the hospital that I was at, the baby stayed with us in the exact same room, which was really great. So the nurses and the doctors would come in and check in on both of us. So for me, what they pretty much did throughout the entire time that I was there is if I did have an infection, so I had to take some antibiotics, so they would obviously connect me to an IV. So you want to ask questions along the way. It's very simple. It's very common. They'll tell you if there's anything that's a concern that you need to be worried about, so you can kind of know ahead of time and kind of plan as far as what you can kind of talk to your doctors about. But they're pretty good about telling you if there's something that you need to be concerned about. Other than that, they didn't really do anything much with me. They made sure that I did a vaginal birth. So for me, it was extremely important that the nurses and doctors came and were making sure that I was healing properly. So the nurses and the doctors would come in, they would press on my stomach to just kind of get any excess blood out. And it's just really to make sure that your uterus is kind of shrinking back into place there. So it's not painful at all. They'll help you when you're walking to the bathroom. They'll help you if you need help while you're in the bathroom. One of the tips that I would take away as a new mom while I was there in recovery is I would allow the nurses to help me more with the baby. So the baby's gonna be crying throughout the day. So this is an opportunity for you to really recover well. So you wanna make sure that you take the opportunity to let the nurses help you with the diaper changes for the baby, with the feedings for the baby, and things like that. While I was my intentions were to breastfeed. There wasn't breast milk coming out, obviously, but you're just gonna have something called colostrum coming out, and they want you to give that to the baby. For me, it was important that he got additional supplement, so I did give him formula. They don't recommend that, but what happens is that your baby's gonna lose weight because you're not having your breast milk come out all the way. So that was one of the things that for me was important that I did give to him, so that he maintained his weight and he didn't lose a lot of weight. And the reason that that's gonna be important is if your baby, they're gonna monitor to see how much weight he's lost since the childbirth. So it's common that the child will lose weight. So that was one of the reasons that for me was important. Once I figured out that they were gonna be monitoring for that, I wanted to make sure that he did have additional supplement. So take that into account. Also, if they tell you your baby has like jaundice, it's basically like a yellowish coloring that the baby will take. One of the ways to kind of help with that is to feed your baby and let them utilize the bathroom. So I mean, there's nothing you can do to kind of help them, force them to go to the bathroom, but the more you feed them, the more that they're gonna pee, and the more that they're gonna use the bathroom and poop. So that's gonna be helpful for your baby. So as far as for me personally, they didn't do anything else other than just monitoring me. Things like that. So for the baby, things that they did is they had his umbilical cord. Once the umbilical cord was cut, there was a clamp that was on the umbilical cord. They're obviously going to remove the clamp. So that was done before we left. There's something called the PQU test that they do. It's essentially to make sure that the baby, if they're prone to any genetic diseases or anything that they're gonna have, they wanna make sure that they do that testing while you're at the hospital, and they will tell you the result. I didn't know that they did that, so I couldn't have asked, but the protocol, the process would be that they're going to tell you if any concerns come up with that. Yeah. And so also, because they're going to do that testing for you, the PQU testing, they are going to make sure that you set up your first pediatrician appointment for your baby. And so typically that happens about 3 to 5 days after you are discharged from the hospital. And the pediatrician that you are going to see is going to also get those results, so they kind of go over with you any concerns that you have. So the baby's discharge, I went over that with you guys, which is why it's important. You want to make sure that, especially if you're not even getting colostrum out of your breast, you want to make sure that you're supplementing and giving your baby. My recommendation is that you give your baby some sort of formula so that they can kind of maintain their weight. They're going to make sure that the baby is urinating, that they're using the bathroom properly, and they'll monitor for that. That their baby is able to poop and making sure that that's normally flowing for them. They are going to do a heart defect screen test for the baby. So they'll tell you if anything comes up with that as far as any heart defects. For our baby, thank God that he was pretty healthy with everything there. They're going to do a hearing test. So they're going to come in and kind of see both of his or hers hearing screening. They'll be able to, somebody's completely going to come and do that on their own. What else are they going to do? Oh, the other thing is going to happen is the lactational consultant is going to come a few times while you are there. That's just to make sure that your baby is latching, that you feel comfortable with the breastfeeding process, if that is a route that you're going to be doing, and then they'll kind of help you with that. For me, it was really difficult and really stressful because they want you to kind of pump, also see the lactational consultant, also make sure that your baby is latching. So you want to take your time with that process and kind of go at your pace, just because it's a lot while you're in the hospital before you kind of leave. I did tell you, you want to make sure you find out who your pediatrician is going to be before you go to the hospital, because you're going to have to set up your first appointment while you're there, or at least our hospital, that was their expectation from us. And then they will make sure that you did set that up before you go. So what else? And typically that's about 3 to 5 days. You also will have another follow-up appointment at the hospital after you are discharged. So for me, we ended up going back about 3 days afterwards. We discharged on a Friday. We actually went back on Monday. And that was a follow-up for 2 things. One was a lactational consultant, and one was to make sure that the baby and the mom were doing perfectly fine and everything was healing and you're feeling comfortable. So those were really helpful. The car seat, you want to make sure that you do have your car seat. They are going to make sure that the baby is strapped in. They're going to walk you to the car, put the baby in there also for you. Those were pretty much the big things that were part of our discharge. While you're at the hospital, there is going to be a lot of doctors and nurses that are going to be in and out. A lot of the things, the monitors are going to be going off. There might be some things that are just beep, 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 beep. So to kind of not overwhelm yourself, I asked a lot of questions just to give myself peace of mind. So you kind of want to make sure, for your comfort, ask a lot of questions if that's how you process as a person. If you're the type that just wants to wait to see what the doctors or the nurse is going to tell you as a concern, you can kind of do that. But other than that, they didn't really do anything else. During the time that you were there, I was there for about 2.5 days until we were discharged, just to make sure that me and the baby were healthy and that we were feeling comfortable beforehand. So that was pretty much all I had for you guys as far as the discharge process from the hospital went. For me, my gynecologist also called in because she wasn't the one that was able to deliver the baby for us. So she did call us while we were there, which made me have a little bit of peace of mind. So you want to kind of talk to your gynecologist about what their process is and what expectations you would have for them if they are not going to be physically able to be there to help you deliver the baby. All right, thanks you guys. Please subscribe below, give me feedback, let me know what you guys thought, if this was helpful for you guys. I just always want to share things that I feel like I didn't know, that I feel like are practical, common sense things that I wish I had known beforehand. All right, talk to you guys soon. Thanks, bye.